Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm super excited to be taking a look at some more post-rotation stuff in the Pokemon TCG. If you're not familiar, rotation is one of the most important things in the Pokemon TCG that sometimes, new players, don't know about, right? You need to learn about it at some point, and it's something that happens every year. It's coming up with the release this year of the expansion Perfect Order. It's essentially at the same time. When I say it's essentially at the same time, it is at the same time, unless for whatever reason someone you're playing with says that they're, playing with the post-rotation deck early, for whatever reason, or theoretically, you could be playing, I guess, with perfect order and pre-rotation if you really wanted to, but you can do whatever you want. But an actual tournament is going to be at the same time. But anyways, rotation is the loss of the oldest year's worth of Pokemon cards. So this is going to be losing powerful, in this case, supporters like Professor's Research and Iono. And I think it's going to, really change up the metagame. A lot of people have talked about it. I've talked about it a lot on my channel, and we'll continue to talk about it. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. But ultimately, it is a really big deal and is changing the landscape of the Pokemon TCG and changing what supporters are good. Obviously, in some sense, the supporters that are already good are going to stay good. The ones that are rotating are going to leave a bit of a gap that other cards will need to fill. So other cards below it will move up on this tier list, right? But ultimately, there's some really interesting things to talk about as well. Also, I am a little sick still, unfortunately, so if my voice sounds a little weird, that is why. But yeah, make sure you, I guess, also like the video as well before we hop into things. That really helps out. But we have all the supporters here. These supporters are all the supporters that were played in the most recent Champions League tournament. This is a very big tournament. I believe the biggest ever, depending exactly how you measure it. And yeah, that's, a pretty big deal looking at all the deck lists here in the top 32. Actually, they're not all of them because they're not all published, but all the ones I could see, these are all the supporters played in them. Yes, theoretically, there could be good supporters not on this list. And if you think there are any that I missed that are important, leave it in the comment section and I'll tell you my thoughts on them. But ultimately, these are going to be the best supporters. Have S through D tier. Theoretically, if it's not here, it's like F tier, but yeah, let's just hop right in here. I'll start with what's pretty clearly, I guess, the top two supporters in Lily's Determination and Boss's orders here. Lily's Determination is, I'd say it's the best supporter in the game. In my opinion, you shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 6 cards, unless you have exactly 6 prizes remaining, aka at the start of the game, where you shuffle your hand to your deck and then you draw 8 prizes, or you shuffle your hand to your deck and you draw 8 cards. And yeah, this is drawing you the most cards out of really any card in the game. Professor's Research could be drawing you more, but that's rotating. Iono is another nice, essentially a shuffle draw supporter, also rotating. Those two are super good. I think Lily's Determination is, I guess, going to pick up the slack left behind by those cards, and it's already good, right? I'd say there's an argument to be made in standard. It's the best card pre-rotation. I think it is the best card post-rotation. There are obviously other supporters being played as well, but I do think Lowe's Determination is the best supporter in the game, being the backbone draw supporter for most decks in the game. Then we have the supporter Boss's Orders. Boss's Orders is also potentially the best card in the game. I don't know. I was gonna say I'm lower on it than most people. It's the only thing that does what it does. Not the only thing. We have Prime Catcher, and we also have Counter Catcher. Except we don't have Counter Catcher because it's rotating, and we don't really have Prime Catcher either because as I said, Iono is rotating, which is, or was, I should say, through rotation, the best hand disruptive supporter by a lot. We will talk about other ones, but they're definitely weaker than Iono. There's not really any debate about that. And that means that if you want to play consistent hand disruption, then the best way to do that is with the A-Spec Unfair Stamp, which is seeing a ton of play. It's not that every deck in the format is playing it, but a lot of decks are playing it. And so in order to, go ahead and have a source of hand disruption that's good, you want to be playing Unfair Stamp a lot of the time, and then you're not playing Prime Catcher, right? So Boss Orders is going to be the main gusting option. It's already the main gusting option pre-rotation, but it's going to be even more important, switching when your opponent's bench to the active, is gusting. If you're not familiar, that term originates from the card Gust to Wind, which was printed in base set, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was printed in base set. It's actually like Boss Orders, but an item. It's super good. But anyways, these are definitely the two best supporters in the game. I could see an argument that they're in the other order. They are pretty different as well, though I would personally definitely put them in this order, especially because I think draw sports are the backbone of the Pokemon TCG. And as I said, there's 3, or I guess there's 3 or 4 good ones in standard. Depending on if you categorize Arvin in that same category. I guess research doesn't play that much, but we're losing a lot of really powerful ones, and so Lily's is going to be the main one. Then I guess we should talk about hand disruption. Hand disruption is something that that I've mentioned a little. and we have four hand or three or four hand disruptive supporters, depending. I mean, the one's not that universal, but we have Judge, we have Harlequin, and then we have Zero Six Machinations, and we have Team Rocket's Archer. Judge is each player shuffles their hand to their deck and then draws four. This is, by the way, getting reprinted. So it's not rotating. So I wanted to mention that there. But yeah, this is the like best one, I'd say. There's Judge, and there's also Harlequin. Harlequin is it's each player shuffles their hand, then you flip a coin. If heads, you draw five and your opponent draws three. If tails, the other way around. This is theoretically on average the same as Judge, right? Obviously, I don't. If you know me, you know I don't like coin flip cards really. This isn't like a huge swing. I mean, two cards going from your hand to your opponent's hand isn't good, right? That's like not so. That's a meaningful swing, but yeah, this is like good if you flip heads, and it's like kind of it's bad if you get tails, but it's not like horrendous if you get tails, I guess. But it definitely doesn't seem very good. So ultimately, Harlequin is, I would definitely say, worse than Judge, and not a card I'd personally recommend. But in terms of raw power level, I don't know where they stand. They're probably pretty close. But yeah, I would put Judge above it. And I'd say they're okay supporters. I'd say Judge is honestly, I'd put Judge in B tier and Harlequin in C tier. Keep in mind, as I said, there is like theoretically an F tier. Nothing on this tier list will go in it. But yeah, it's not like C tier is like super super terrible. It's like just not like super good. But yeah, Judge is shuffling your hand to your deck, drawing four. Also, I will mention there is the difference of shuffling your hand into your deck as opposed to shuffling it, putting it on the bottom that we see with Iono. I don't think it really matters much at all. There are some differences, but they're pretty minimal and they don't really affect gameplay very much. So I don't know. I've heard some talk about that, but I think it's a pretty um, non-issue there in my opinion. Wait, is Harlequin? Yeah, is into your deck as well. So ultimately they're like okay. Shuffling your hand to your deck, drawing four is like it's okay. Disrupting your opponent with that turn one is actually pretty decent. It's not like absurd, but it's not bad at all. Unlike Iono, which is actually pretty bad disruption in the early game and can hurt, or I guess help your opponent, which is bad for you if you need to play in the early game. But in terms of a draw supporter in the early game, which is actually very important, it's definitely worse. But it's still like a decent card. It's a card that's seen play at various points in the Pokemon TCG. It's been around a lot, and so yeah, Judge is pretty decent, but I don't know. I could see it in A tier, but I'm not quite putting it there. I just don't think it's like a super powerful card, but it's all right. I could see it seeing more play based on how much play it's seen in Japan as well. It's like it's in some, but it's not crazy. We have Team Rocket's Proton. I'm not actually sure how I'm gonna rank the Team Rocket supporters. Team Rocket's Archer. I got the wrong card here. Team Rocket's Archer. There we go. If you were knocked out last turn, or Team Rocket's Pokemon, I should say, was knocked out last turn. Then you shuffle your hand to your deck, or each player does. Then you draw five. Your opponent draws three. So this is like the good side of Harlequin. Yeah, it's pretty good. It is only if you're knocked out last turn. There are ways to knock out between turns with Frostlass, which is seeing some play. And the metagames I'd say a bit slower. So this isn't going to be as useful earlier on. I would put this card in B tier as well. Ultimately, judging these Team Rocket supporters is kind of weird because they obviously only work within Team Rocket's decks, really. But yeah, I'd say Team Rocket's Proton it's like pretty decent, honestly. Honestly, I could see it in A tier, but it only works on one deck. Judging these supporters is kind of weird there. Then we have Zero Six Machinations. If you know me, you know I'm going to say this card is bad because it is. It's like it's not super super terrible, but it's um. So what it does is your opponent discards cards in their hand until they have three in hand. I guess I'll mention because someone will probably mention it. That yes, this is bad for like this hurts Alakazam. Alakazam isn't like that good, or in like other hand disruption hurts them. This does hurt them more than other hand disruption, but it's not like this. I don't know. I mean, like it's not like you can't beat Alakazam without this, or you instantly win with this. It is very good against Alakazam, I guess. But anyways, I figured I'd mention that. But the biggest thing is Alakazam's like just kind of bad. But then you have this the fact that this doesn't draw you any cards, right? The other ones I was talking about all draw you like a bunch of cards. Your opponent also gets to choose which cards they keep. So if you use this against like a random deck, then they're just going to keep their three best cards in their hand. Unlike with the other hand disruption options, you'll give them a similar amount of cards, but they're random cards. So they'll like lose cards. versus here they'll be able to like essentially do whatever they're planning on doing anyways. So as 06 Machinations is generally pretty bad. I made videos on it in the past, and every time I've played with or against it, it's felt essentially every time it's felt like kind of bad. It's not like it never does anything, but you shouldn't be judging a card like a card's not good if it does something sometimes. It needs to do good stuff consistently. It doesn't really do that. So it'll end up in D tier here. Then we have the other Team Rock supporters. I'll go back to those. I was talking about Team Rocket Starter. Actually, I'll talk about Petrel a little later. Team Rocket's Proton, though. We got Team Rocket's Ariana, and we got Team Rocket's Giovanni. Team Rocket's Giovanni is a Gust and a Switch. It's like good, I guess. I'll pop it into B tier as well. It's good for Team Rocket's deck. It's searchable, but obviously only goes within that one deck. Has some downsides compared to Boss Orders. It is a Team Rocket supporter, which actually matters for obviously being searchable as well as with Team Rocket's Honchkrow. And Team Rocket's Porygon 2/Z, but ultimately, it's good. I could see it honestly, like if you want to say like this is an S tier card because it's like boss, then I could like see that. But as I said, it's only in one deck. Team Rocket's Ariana is going to be a bit more of the backbone of the Team Rocket stack, allowing you to draw till you have. It actually works not in a Team Rocket stack theoretically. Draw till you have 5, but if you only have Team Rocket's Pokemon to play, you draw till you have 8. It really limits you to only playing Team Rocket's Pokemon, which is really unfortunate. I mean, ultimately that's mostly what you're looking to play, but then you're not going to be able to play like Fezznipty EX really. Well, you can, but then you'd actually draw the same amount of cards with or without Fezznipty EX in play, which is really funny. But anyways, Team Rex Ariana allows you to draw a good chunk of cards here. Drawing to the 8 is like it's good. So the supporter is pretty good. You can end up with situations where you have clogged hands though, which I've definitely seen. I've been playing with it. I haven't played with it too much, but I played against this deck a bunch, or the Team Rocket stacks. And I've seen Team Rocket's decks get clogged hands a lot. The Team Rocket Ariana obviously doesn't do anything if you have a 10 card hand. You can't play it, right? So yeah, I'll put it in B tier next to the other ones, and then Team Rocket's Proton. Team Rocket's Proton is actually pretty good, but only like really usable in one turn. You can use this going first, turn 1, so that's like kind of cool. And then it searches for 3 basic Team Rocket's Pokemon Reveal and put it into your hand. It doesn't put them onto your bench. You could thin your deck this way if you want to without benching them. It's good. It's, as I said, searchable for Team Rocket's Transceiver. I will put in B tier. I think they're all like good. Theoretically, ignoring the fact that they're Team Rockets, which obviously within the Team Rocket stack, essentially they're just like supporters without downsides. They are like super good, right? They're crazy good, but they do have this downside, so I put them in B tier. But I think they're all in contention for S tier if you ignore the Team Rockets part, which in some sense you're doing in a Team Rockets deck. You're ignoring that like downside. So you're playing with these powerful supporters, except you're just playing with like weaker Pokemon, right? But anyways, so you got that here. They're all like pretty good, but obviously they only work in one deck, and they're not like super broken powerful cards. They're just a little better than the best supporters in the game. Then we have Team Rocket's Proton I'll talk about, or Team Rocket's Petrel I'll talk about next. Petrel is definitely interesting. It's a card I've actually been playing with a bit lately. It's pretty interesting, searching for a trainer, revealing it, and putting it into your hand. I think this is pretty clearly an A tier supporter, right? Arven, I mentioned, Arven is rotating, searching for an item and a tool. Team Rocket's Petrel will oftentimes get you an item, which can get you most cards. So it is a little weaker than Arven. I'd say it's just a little weaker than Arven, though. And Arven's very good. Arven allows you to go for certain turn 1 plays, getting like whatever pop in a tool that sets your board up or something like that. Team Rocket's Petrel doesn't do that, but ultimately it's pretty good. It gets supporters or stadiums if you want, which you do sometimes. And then yeah, I mean, it's just a good card allowing you to get yourself set up. It works within Team Rocket stacks. I think it's maybe a little underrated in Team Rocket stacks. It's actually not being played that much. As I was saying, the other supporters are like kind of broken. If you ignore the fact that they have to interact like essentially exclusively with Team Rocket stuff. Team Rocket's Petrel isn't like that. It's just like a regular supporter. It's like Skyla. Skyla is the same thing as Team Rocket's Petrel, not in standard, but we saw it in the past, and it was like fine. So yeah, Team Rocket's Petrel is fine, I think, or it's pretty good, right? It allows you to do some different things. And specifically with the loss of some better supporters, Team Rocket's Petrel's good. This is definitely a supporter that's seen a bunch of play. It's not like, this is not a crazy take. If you've heard other people's takes or my takes in the past on Team Rocket's Petrel with rotation, this is a pretty common thing that people have been saying. With the loss of Arven, as well as other supporters, Team Rocket's Petrel is really nice here. Then we have some other search supporters. I guess I'll talk about the Pokemon search ones. So we got Brock Scout and getting a basic, 2 basics or an evolution. On getting a basic stage 1, stage 2, and yeah, those two, I guess, are going to be the main ones. Brock Scouting is pretty decent, I guess. It's not a card I personally play with that much. I generally tend to play a lot of item search and draw supporters. That being said, there's going to be a lot of Badu. Post rotation, it's like better, maybe. I don't know if it's actually better, but it's like still at least very good. So, Brock Scouting is good. I all popped into A tier. It's seen quite a bit of play. I don't think it's as good as other people think it is by like some, but I don't know. I mean, it is a pretty good supporter here. And then Dawn, I don't think Dawn's that good either, to be honest. Getting a basic at stage 1 to stage 2, a lot of times it gets you like something useful, but there's also a lot of times when you're like wasting a good portion of it as well. So it's fine. I'm going to put it into B tier. Obviously, it's a little more specific than Brock Scouting as well. But they're like fine. I don't think they're staples, but I do think they are nice. Brock Scouting is pretty versatile as well. Getting 2 basics is pretty nice. Probably going to be using it for a lot of the time, and then getting an evolution is also definitely nice. I wouldn't play this in a deck without evolution certainly, but Brock Scouting has been seen play, and it's a decent supporter. It's not like a new supporter that has been like come out of nowhere, but yeah, definitely like a kind of cool supporter there. Then we have some other draw ones, specifically of Carmen here. Carmen is really interesting. That's not Carmen. This is Carmen. Okay, I can't move Rose's encouragement. So Carmen is discard your hand, draw 5. Obviously, it is worse than Professor's Research. I've heard like 1 or 2 people say that it's just like the replacement for research. It's not. I mean, if it is, it's like it's a lot worse, right? You draw 2 less cards, which is pretty substantial. Can use a turn one going first. I actually really like Carmen because of that reason with Meowth EX. I haven't talked about Meowth EX yet. That's a Pokemon which has an on-play from hand onto your bench that you can then go ahead and get to search for any supporter, reveal it, put into your hand. And that card's really, really good, right? Searching for supporters is nice, allowing you to play one of supporters. Most of the ones we've been talking about are more backbone supporters that are you're running a bunch of counts to set yourself up. But for more situational supporters, like something like say Briar or Black Belt's Trainer, just these various ones I see on screen here that we haven't talked about yet. Oh, I forgot Cyrano. I just realized. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. But you can use this turn 1 with Carmen to just go ahead. Also, sorry, I said I'm a little sick here. But with Carmen, turn 1, you can go ahead, get that, and set yourself up. You are losing Squawkbilly EX. Someone's like, yeah, post rotation, I'm gonna be playing like something something Squawk, and I was like, I don't think so. That is rotating because or it's rotating. You can't use Nest Ball for it, but now you can use like Ultra Ball turn 1 for Meowth EX to get Carmen to allow you to draw some cards turn 1, which I think is interesting, and I do like that idea quite a bit. As well as just being like a decent supporter in general. Though it's not amazing, but I do think it is an A tier supporter here. Then we have Cyrano, which I forgot before, letting you search for 3 EXs. I definitely am not super high in Cyrano. I know it's seeing play in different decks, and there are, like, I mean, look at this deck here. There are a good chunk of different EXs that do different things. You got switching, you got some draw. The draw's, like, decent. You got, obviously, attackers there. You have Meowth EX setting up for future turns as well. So I think Cyrano's all right. I guess I will put in A tier below Brock Scouting. I think I'm going to actually move Judge up to A tier as well now that I think about it. Though it's like kind of on the fence there. It's like it's decent. I don't know. I think it is a card that's gonna ultimately see a good amount of play and kind of end up in A tier. In terms of power level, I don't think it's there, but in terms of being a card that people kind of have to play in order to get hand reception, in my opinion, I think it is I think it's like decent. And I am, as I said, a little. I think I've said this. I don't know if I said in this video, but I am a little lower on unfair stamp than other people because I mean I think there are other good ace specs. That I think unfair stamp's a good card. Right? I'm not going to sit here and say it's a bad card. I think it's actually very very good, and I thought that since it's come out. But ultimately Cyrano is Judge it does some decent hand reception and allows you to free up that spot and then use the Alpha Energy or Prime Catcher or whatever. But then we have the next supporter, the next search one, which is going to be Safe Mechanics Code Breaking. Look for 2 cards, put them on top of your deck. I think it's fine with say like a Mechanics Cognax, but I don't know. I'm not like truly in love with it because you already need your Mechanics Cognax to be getting it working, or like some other form of draw, or just be waiting. Just waiting is kind of not so exciting, especially when your opponent could play actual hand reception, shuffling your hand into your deck, which is would stop Safe Mechanics Code Breaking. And then also, once you have your draw engine set up, even if it's not like super powerful, you are able to draw some cards, and then like you've got stuff going. So then I think you want your supporter to just like do something more powerful. Once you're set up, you don't need to set up that much more. I mean, maybe you do. There's like different levels to setting up. There's like getting a baseline like engine kind of going, and then there's also getting your actual your attacker with the energy and stuff like that. But like I don't know. I mean, people are playing a lot of Crispin, and I think the turns where you want to be playing Crispin are like similar to the turns where you want to be playing Safe Manix Code Breaking, except without Crispin you're like not attacking. So yeah, I think this supporter is like B tier. I think it's a decent supporter. I don't think it's bad, but I'm going to put in B tier. Speaking of Crispin, Crispin is one of the top supporters post rotation. I am again a little lower on this than other people. It's like nice, but I don't think it's I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it's a supporter you need to get like yourself set up, and well in terms of getting your board set up in terms of the energy there, but it obviously doesn't help you draw really. It searches for some energies, which is nice, but it ultimately doesn't actually it doesn't set up your Pokemon. So there are times you have Crispin where you can't really do anything. It doesn't mean it's bad though. I do think it is the third best supporter in the game. I think above Petrel here. I think it is A tier. I don't think it's S tier. I think that's going to be the only thing that people might disagree with here. Crispin is definitely a nice supporter, but I don't think it's like a broken supporter, but I think it is good for setting up your board. It requires you to play different types of energy. I think people are falling into what I guess I'll call the Crispin Monkey Dory trap. They're like, well, I need another type of energy. I'll toss in like a bunch of Crispins, then I'll toss in Monkey Dories. It's like Monkey Dory, it can be nice for decks, right? It can be nice for decks. It can be a nice tech card, and it can be very powerful within some decks. Though for most decks, it's going to be like a nice tech option. I will say it's probably a better tech option post rotation than pre rotation. Dragon Pult's a bit better, and then you know, you're going to see less power index, so you're going to have these longer games, and Monkey Door will be a little better there. But ultimately, it's still not a card that is going to be, like if you're just channeling a bunch of energy into your Monkey Dory so instead of your attacker, then that's like not good. And then essentially you're not accelerating the energy because you're accelerating the energy to Monkey Dory, which leaves you in the same spot you were in before before accelerating the energy, right? So ultimately it's good though. And long story short, what I'm saying is it is good. It slots like a little awkwardly into like a mono type decks though. But ultimately it is a good card. Though I wouldn't get too tricky with it because it's a good card. Don't overthink it. But anyways, then we have some other cards here. Speaking of Energy Acceleration, we do have Rose's Encouragement, the only new card on this list/video. Letting you accelerate to base X from your discard to a stage 2. Also, it is translated as Rose's Encouragement. I don't know the actual translation, if that's right. Tell me in the comment section if we know it. I don't know if we know it officially by this point. Oh yeah, only if you're down in prizes as well. Ultimately, it's okay. I don't know. I mean, I personally wouldn't play it. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's not like a terrible card in terms of what it does, but I'd say it's just worse than Crispin. Yes, it accelerates more, but it's more situational. And most of the decks that play, I mean, like what Dragapult is probably what's playing it, where you need 2 energies, which is like accelerating one and attaching one, which Crispin does. But it also searches it, and you don't need to be in prizes, down in prizes. So, long story short, Rose's Encouragement is just like worse than Crispin most of the time. Not literally all the time, but most of the time. Then we have a few more supporters here. These are all situational. I guess Janine's, or they're not all situational. Janine's Secret Art, though, is also another energy acceleration supporter for Darkness, accelerating to 2 Darkness Pokemon, Darkness energies. This accelerated to, not Darkness Pokemon. If you could use it with Monkey Door, it would be much better, but you can't, not really. So this card's like fine. I'll put it into like C tier. It's pretty situational and pretty mediocre. I could even see it in D tier. In terms of like power level, it's like fine. It's like a decent card. But yeah, then we got a few more here that are kind of all over the place. You have Briar. Briar is pretty interesting, allowing you to take an extra prize, obviously on a specific turn with a specific or certain specific decks. So it's good. I keep scrolling down. I keep seeing the regional, which is more recent than the City League. But yeah, Briar is definitely a pretty good supporter. I'll toss it into B tier. I guess I'll put it above the Team Rocket supporters. It's not the most universal card, though it is pretty universal. Honestly, and also put it at the top of B tier. It can be really huge in win you games. It is easier to search out with Meowth as well, which I think this is potentially the card that's the best use of Meowth EX being, like only really good on one turn of the game, but really being really good in that turn of the game. Um, but obviously, it kind of depends on the situation. Your opponent can kind of play around it. Having a card that you force your opponent to play around is good. I'm not going to sit here and deny that, but ultimately, it's good, it's good, but obviously not like a build around card really. It's a good, powerful tech option, which I think puts it fair where it is there. Then we have Black Belt's training. Black Belt's training, I guess, is also somewhat situational. Moving forward more to EXs, it's not like super situational. Obviously useful in a bunch of decks against a bunch of decks, but also like exactly how useful that is pretty situational. And it doesn't really, help you get set up like something like say Kieran, which actually, well, okay, no, the Kieran doesn't help you get set up, but it's more versatile. And there are other supporters that help you get set up that have utility, like the say hand disruption supporters, and also draw. And most of these supporters help you get set up that we've talked about so far. So Black Belt's training is like kind of meh. I'll put it in C tier here. I'll put it at the top of C tier. It's like fine, definitely not a bad card. Definitely useful in some situations, but also it's kind of meh. And then we have Morty's Conviction. Morty's Conviction is interesting. This is a card that happens to see more play in Japan for whatever reason, but you just go to card draw for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Um, it can go ahead and draw you theoretically a bunch of cards, but probably is like kind of whatever. This is like a mediocre draw supporter. I guess it's the next best one that we haven't talked about. But it's like definitely a lot worse than the other options. So I'll put it in C tier as well. It doesn't always work, right? Your opponent kind of needs to be set up. But if they're like too set up and you're like not set up at all, then it doesn't really matter. You're kind of cooked. And then makes you discard, which can be nice or can be bad. It's mostly just kind of fine. I don't really have too much to say about it. Fine in like the grand scheme of things, but in terms of actual competitive play, it's kind of bad. So yeah, it's not really a card I'd recommend that often, but if you want to play it, it's okay. Then we have two more supporters. We got Lana's Aid. Lana's Aid is a recovery supporter. We are losing Super Odds, so that's like a thing that's worth mentioning. And this will allow you to get 3 in any combination of Pokemon without rule boxes and basic energy from your card into your hand. Obviously allowing you to go ahead and get some good cards, but like not all the good cards you're looking for. It's fine, right? This is another supporter probably ending up in C tier. Useful in some situations, but a little situational. I'll put it right below Moore's Conviction. Then we have a Wally's Aid. Wally's Aid, again, probably ending up in, well, I don't want swallowed up Pikachu. Okay. Wally's Compassion. Wait, yeah, Wally's Compassion. There we go. Did I say the wrong name? I don't know. But you heal all damage from one of your megas, then return the energy to your hand. This is interesting. Obviously, we're seeing more Mega decks. Specifically, we're seeing this more so in like Mega Lucario, where it is interesting. Healing supporters are really interesting. We are also losing the scoop up supporters in Penny and Turo. So if you're looking for healing, this is the best healing supporter. Obviously, it kind of depends exactly what you're playing, but it is like realistically the best healing supporter. Has some downsides, has some upsides. Ultimately, I think it's fine. But in C tier as well. It can be huge, but a lot of times it's not doing much of anything. Kind of like with the same issue of like Monkey Dory or like other healing cards, you need to be taking damage. You can't be getting like one-shotted, and then you need to be able to get the energy stuff going as well. So ultimately, it's fine. But tell me in the comment section what your thoughts are here. As I said, sorry my voice is feeling a little under the weather. Hopefully you enjoyed though. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff though. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.